All right, Red Farmer has made it to the show, the Hall of Famer. Red, it's Dale Jr., Mike Davis. Man, it's so good to see you.
Well, it only took me 73 years to get there.
So let me ask you, man, were you watching the shows on TV when you saw yourself nominated?
Yes, I was watching it. And I kind of lost my breath there for a minute. It's like all the football players watching the draft to see if their name is called. So I felt the same way. We were sitting around watching for it when it came on. It was just, well, I've been on it for 2 years. This is my third year, so you never know. So it was quite a shock, but a great shock anyway.
What is it rank up there as the number one proudest accomplishment in your racing career?
Well, I would say so. Yes. In other words, this is the icing on the cake. This is my 73rd year racing, and I've been in NASCAR for 68 years. So I guess this is at my age. You're not going to have many more. So this one here, I think, going to top them all.
Red, where were you when you were watching the broadcast last week, and who was with you?
Well, my wife was with me, and Maddox was with me, and Tracy and Chris, all of them down at their CRM car lot. Was watching down on the showroom floor. They had a kick down there, had everything set up down there at the store just in case.
Man, that's awesome.
That's a party right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been the emotions or the thoughts about it over the last week? Okay, you've been inducted, or you to be inducted, so you're in the Hall of Fame, going in the Hall of Fame. You had a week to think about it. What's the thoughts? I mean, do you getting a lot of text messages or communication with old friends, and how's all that made you feel?
Oh yeah, it did. A lot of the people kept calling me, and then of course the local TV stations all coming out. I had 3 different TV station trucks in my driveway at the same time yesterday. But I was trying to get one of my dirt cars ready to run Talladega Saturday night, and I had some other work to do in the garage. That I told them, I said, look, I don't need to spread out all day long. Let's set everybody up at one time. So Tracy set them up for me, where I had one at 1 o'clock, one at 1:30, one at 2. Then I could go back out in the garage and go to work again.
Yeah, you mentioned it, man, that you are still driving today. Tell people why you still love to race.
It's hard to explain something like that unless you're doing it. In other words, it's people like they play golf. They love to play golf, and they're going to go out every Saturday and look to play golf with their buddies and stuff. And it's just it gets in your blood, and that's what you want to do. So everybody's got different things that fishing or hunting or something that they want to do every weekend if they get a chance to after they get off of work. And I want to go racing. Like I said, I've been racing since 1948. I started the same year in NASCAR. Bill France started NASCAR in 48. I didn't join NASCAR to 53, but it just gets in your blood, and I still enjoy it. I still love it. I do 90% of the work on my cars myself. I've got 3 dirt cars out in my shop in the backyard, and I enjoy going out there every morning, working on 8 o'clock, and I work till about 5, come in and have supper. I just enjoy working on them, getting them ready, and then I enjoy going out and competing on the weekend and racing with the youngsters. You know what I mean?
Who's going with you? Who's working on your car and going with you on the weekends?
Well, I've got a boy named Mike. I got 2 Mikes that work with me, and my son worked with me for quite a while. And then I got David Culver and different guys that come and help me every week. David used to be my crew chief, and he said I was having so much fun. He started racing about a year and a half ago. So he's got his own car now, but he still helps me when I need it. So I've got one thing it's hard to explain, but in 73 years of racing, I'll probably say this when I come to the Hall of Fame deal, but in my 73 years of racing, I've never had a man on a payroll.
What? Wow.
Never. Everybody I've had, even through all my championships where we traveled all over the country, it was all volunteer help. And I think the reason everybody said, well, why is that? I said, well, there's 2 reasons for it. When we was racing back in the days, we couldn't really afford to pay salaries. We had to, I bought pit passes and paid for the motel room and the meals and stuff, but I didn't have the money to pay for salaries. But I found out one thing: when you've got a volunteer crew, you've got the best crew for this reason. If you're paying them, they've got to show up, and you're not paying them, they want to show up. So it makes a difference. They come because they want to be there, not because they're being paid.
Yeah.
So I've always had a great crew all my career.
Where are you doing most of your racing these days?
I'm running Talladega short track. I stay close to home. It's only about 60 miles down the road. The dirt track right across the street from the super speedway. And we run there every Saturday night. And last weekend we run Friday and Saturday night during Talladega weekend. Then we have an annual race in January called the Ice Bowl. It's similar to like the Snowball Derby in Pensacola on the asphalt. This is called the Ice Bowl. I think they've been running it 27 to 28 years. They've been running it every January. And we had 320 cars in the pits for the Ice Bowl last year.
Wow. So you talked about racing in motorsports you've been in for 73 years. So that I'm a historian, love artifacts and old uniforms, trophies, or anything like that. Do you have a lot of that stuff from even back when you started racing? Do you have any kind of old trophies or old suits or anything in storage?
Yeah, I've got a trophy room with all my trophies back through there. And one thing that I've got is a jacket that hangs up in my trophy room. It says 1956 National Modified Champion in NASCAR. And I'm going to tell you this. Well, that particular year in '56 meant a lot to me. But when it was there, Buck Baker was the Cup champion. I was the modified champion, and your grandpa Ralph Earnhardt was the sportsman champion.
Yep,
that's neat.
I got a picture of y'all three accepting y'all's trophies together.
Yep, I still got that picture too, and I got that jacket hanging up in my trophy room, and I've got all of them collected. I've got several hundred of them in two different trophy rooms, and I've got a lot of old trophies from the years when we first started. They don't get out many trophies anymore. So,
Red, this is Mike. So I've got to. You're here, and I've got to ask you a question because I'm an Alabama guy myself. I'm from Birmingham, and we're working on a show called Lost Speedways, and you're going to love it because a lot of these speedways that we highlight, you raced at, like Middle Georgia Raceway, and just a bunch of tracks. But I've got one I want to ask you about. Give me your favorite moments or something that you remember from Birmingham International Raceway, which was my home track, which is where I went to my first race, and you were so prominent there. BIR, it's no longer there, but that's a place you guys used to just get after it.
Yeah, that was BIR was a flat 5/8 mile track. Actually, I ran that track when it was dirt before Tom Glore tried to pave it. It was dirt when I first came up from Florida, and I raced the last 10 races on that track before they paved it, and I won 8 of the last ones on the dirt track. And then they paved it. Glore come in and put some kind of gravel stuff on it and called it asphalt. We tried to race on that for years, and then they repaved it. But that track was a 5/8 mile flat track, and if you could drive BIR and get around that track right, you could go anywhere in the country and race because it was a real tricky track, flat, fast. And then back in those days, we didn't have the technology you got now. And if you learned to drive that track, it was good. But we ran Huntsville on Thursday night, Birmingham Friday night, Montgomery on Saturday night. Then we'd find somewhere to run sometime on Sunday. So we raced 3 nights a week, all during the 60s and 70s days, Bobby, Donnie, and myself. And there were some great drivers come out through Birmingham. We had Freddie Fryer and Friday Hassler and a whole bunch of the guys that was great drivers that could make it tough to win down there. But that was one of my favorite tracks.
I love it. And the other thing I wanted to ask you is that, the gentleman sitting here at the table with me, you guys are going to be sort of like fraternity brothers because you're going into the Hall of Fame with the same class. And so you guys will forever be linked. with Mike Stefanik. And I wonder if both of you guys, I mean, what does that mean to each of you? I mean, you're going in with Red Farmer, Dale, and that's such an honor, I would imagine. And Red, you're going in with you and Dale Jr., and you're the one that's still racing. So what does that mean to both of you guys?
Well, it means a lot to me to go in with Junior. You know, like I said, I've raced against his grandpa, and I raced against his dad. And in fact, in 1990, I think it was, Dale won the 500 at Talladega. He won the Sportsman race on Saturday, and he won the IROC race that weekend. He won all 3 races at the Super Speedway that weekend. And he come over and run a match race with me at the dirt track. And I won that one. and Dale said, I won everything at Talladega. And I went over there, that old man outrun me. Friday night. So I've got the trophy from there. And it was something special to be able to do that. But then I raced with Ralph Earnhardt in the last race in 1956. Was a 200-lap race on the half-mile dirt in Concord. And it was the last race for the championship. And he was running in the sportsman division, and I was running in the modified. The only difference between the cars in those days was sportsman ran 1 carburetor, and if you had 2 carburetors, you was modified. And it was I had two guys that was battling me for the championship was there. And back in those days, we ran the little quick change rear end with 6-blind quick changes, and they tear up those ring gear and pinions. I probably tear up about 6 a year racing that thing. And I went to Concord, and somewhere around 130-something lap, I tore the rear end up. And I said, well, there goes the championship, because the guy in second place is only quite a few points close. And 5 laps later, he broke. So I still won the championship. But if he'd have finished the race, he'd have won the championship. So, like I said, I've raced against all the Earnhardt, 3 generations of the Earnhardt. So it's quite an honor to be going in with Junior.
Yeah, I remember that race at the short track that weekend back in the mid '80s when Dad went over there to match race you, and I was there in the pits. I've seen some video of that here recently, being over there at the dirt track. But so I remember that. But I remember going to Talladega and seeing Red Farmer race in the ARCA race, and I learned who Red Farmer was by going to the Hall of Fame at Talladega. As a kid, I loved going over to the Hall of Fame and climbing all over that place, and then to learn about his connection to the Alabama gang and his history in racing and how long he'd been racing, and to see him still racing today, it's a real honor. You've always been incredibly nice to me. Every time I've had the opportunity to spend a moment with you, you're one of the good guys. You treat everybody the same. People are going to remember that about you more than anything, Red, and I'm so lucky to be able to share this honor with you, and I look forward to joining you in all of the media and things that we're going to do leading up to the ceremony, and then obviously sharing that night with you will be very special. And I'm excited as well to learn more and more about the Stefanik family and what Mike meant to motorsports and what his career was all about. So it's going to be a great time, and I can't wait. It just means that I get to spend more time with you. We every time I'm around you, I've always enjoyed it. And this means I'll get to see you a little more often over the next several months. So I'm looking forward to it. And congratulations to a well-deserved honor. And I hope you know how much you mean to this sport and how much people appreciate and love you. And thank you, Red, for giving us just a little bit of your time today for this podcast. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed being on with you, Junior.
Yes, sir. I know you're ready to get back to work on the old car. So we'll let you
get ready for Saturday night.
That's right. We'll let you we'll let you go, buddy, and have fun and good luck.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.